Welcome to the next episode of the Tech and Toast podcast. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Roger Wade. And what we're calling you founder of Box Park, Box Fresh. Let's do the lot. Box Fund and Box Kitchen. Is that correct?
If there's a box, I'm in it.
Very nice to meet you.
Very good to meet you.
We're big fans of yours. And as I was mentioning to them, we already work with you guys or your old employers. Are you still involved in some form?
Yeah, apparently I still own 25% of it. But
that's not a bad deal to be.
Well, I say apparently. Yeah, I don't have much control.
So normally on this podcast, we talk about tech and product and all that kind of stuff and some hospitality operations. But today I just want to talk about you because I think your story is fascinating. And
although I do have a good tech story.
Well, you can by all means
ask me how I got onto the eBay advisory board.
What?
Because it was so embarrassing. Okay.
Well, once you're on it, or
how I got on it, and then how I ended up not on it.
Okay, I feel like I want to go straight there. There's two things he's told me already, which aren't in my questions, which I need to make sure I cover. So, first of all, your early years, you were told me you got fired from your job 3 times. Is this correct?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a classic example of there's actually must be a very low bar to be successful, because in my first 3 jobs after university, I got the sack in the probation period after 3 months, 3 months, and 3 months.
Wow.
So at the age of 22, I sort of came to the conclusion that if I didn't employ myself, no one else would employ me. So I started what was then my first business, Box Fresh, more out of necessity. I had nothing else to do.
To survive.
Just to do something, you know. So I started selling, my last job was in the States, and I knew all these sort of wholesale contacts for sportswear. So we were selling sort of American sportswear in sort of Greenwich Market and Camden Market. And then we bumped into 2 designers, Olaf and Sue Denny. My business partner was my football manager. And it was the only one I trusted. It actually turned out to be really good.
What, a good football manager? Or
shit football manager. Absolutely shit. But actually really good at business. And then that was it. You know, I suddenly took to it, I guess, like a duck to water. I found, I guess, the thing that I was good at doing.
And I guess I feel like I had most of my career I've been in jobs, but then I found myself, since I've become self-employed, I do think I'm unemployable. I don't think I could go back. Yeah. But did you hit that bar quite early on?
I'm really.
But there's a lot of you, right? There's a lot of people like that, I think, out there.
Yeah, but you got to realise, like, you know, nowadays everyone and their mother wants to be an entrepreneur. It's like,
well, you can build now as well. It's easy, right?
It's either that or an influencer. But when I was doing it, it was sort of Richard Branson, if anything. So it wasn't so fashionable, and it's become fashionable, and it's weird because sort of people look at me like a sort of an older head entrepreneur, and at the time I was just like, well, better do it because I'm going to be unemployed.
And what was it like? Because that energy must have been quite cool, right? Because you were building something, like you say, before it became, I suppose, street cool sounds like I am 52. But do you know what I mean?
52, young.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you how old you are. But the energy must have been quite cool building at that time. Particularly, as you said, it wasn't having a young founder or a young guy starting a business probably wasn't as common as it is today.
I always, on these podcasts, try to leave the viewer or listener with some sort of nuggets about business, or try to. And I'll be absolutely frank with you, I never knew that Box Fresh would get to where it was going to get to. I was always a very inquisitive person, you know, just by nature. That's why I got the sack in those advertising jobs, because they stuck me doing
Wouldn't
media.
Stay in your lane.
No, I couldn't. They stuck me in media buying. And like, where the fuck's Roger? He'd be up in the creative department, because that's where the fun was. And then when I was working as a creative, I sort of, you know, was too busy. Was
there a common theme out the 3 firings? Was there, as in the feedback, or was it just get him out?
I was really bad. I needed to understand everything. I couldn't just do a small part. And actually, in a way, that's my greatest trait now, and my biggest weakness as an employee. I have to understand everything and be fully committed to it. So, but going back to the Box Fresh days, I think one of the things that I've learned about business is one of the easiest way to make money is you make money by seeing something that's growing and you grow with it. So let's take Box Fresh. When I started out Box Fresh, we were literally one of the first streetwear brands. I could say there was Duffers St. George were probably number one British streetwear brand, number two Mau Mau, and number three Box Fresh.
Yeah.
And we were like the originators of British streetwear, and there was sort of a hierarchy behind it, but we didn't really know that at the time. We didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't know that streetwear was going to become almost the new designer wear.
Because I guess you can't see it like you can now. So it's social media, and you get that feedback quite quickly, don't you?
No. There was no internet.
Not even
I've been through all the
See how old we
eras.
are?
Yeah, I had a fax machine. Come on.
The fax machine was going off.
Yeah. I was king of the fax. No, I didn't. There was no one to show me my destination.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've always been reasonably good at is that I would see what other people were doing and go to myself, well, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And I think one of the there was a few big changing points for me with Box Fresh. One was, I think starting in a market store was incredible. That sort of learning. I mean, I was on a market store.
Why is that? You get direct feedback, like literally to your face.
Literally, I was like on in Camden Market, and it's weird because I'm actually running that site now where I was on originally, and my parents used to run Greenwich Market, but literally the Box Park in Camden is on the site that we were all on. So there was us, there was Duffers St. George, there was Nigel Hoare, there was William Hunt, there was Wayne Hemingway from Red or Dead.
Wow.
These are big names now, and we were all in a market store. So we were learning our trade about customer and the customer feedback. There wasn't really shops to sell to because at the time there wasn't a market for it.
Yeah, new category.
But I look back on it now and go, what a great training. And then suddenly we started getting bigger and bigger. And then the next big thing for me was I went to the States, and when I was in the States, I was living in a place called Laguna Beach, which was absolutely stunning. And everyone in Laguna Beach seemed to be a millionaire, and they all were in the surf business. So I sort of started. It was only a little town. It was only about 25,000 people, and I started to knock around with the owners of Quicksilver, the owners of Billabong, the owners of Hurley's, the owners of Stussy, the owners of Mossimo, and they all were really wealthy. And then I started to realise, God, I could make money at this. And when I came back to the UK, Box Fresh then really took off because then we sort of pivoted out of streetwear and we created a new technical type of streetwear called urban wear.
Yeah.
And we sort of really exploded then. We really became quite a big brand. Certainly one of the biggest youth brands in Britain, and we were selling in a dozen different countries. We had, shops everywhere. And that went on a meteoric rise. And
did you plan to sell it? That sounds stupid to say that, but yeah.
No.
You were building. Yeah.
There's only 3 reasons to be in business, and
this sounds like one of the nuggets.
Yeah, this is a good nugget. I had to get this in actually. They are your ego, or you're in business for your ego. You're in business to sell a business to make money, or you're in business to hand it over for future generations, or for your employees, or for the benefit of a better world. Let's take Yves Chonard from Patagonia. Yeah. Well, my first business, I was in business for the worst reason, my ego, because I was quite an insecure sort of child. I, had, as we mentioned, I had quite a near-death experience at a quite a vulnerable age, at the age of 16, where I got effectively, in South London they called it bottled, but I got bottled on the side of the face from a complete stranger, and I nearly died.
Just a random...
I was separating a fight between one of my mates and another group of guys, and they were at 2 different parties, and I don't know. The next minute I was, in hospital, fighting for my life. And I think that sort of not just physically but emotionally scarred us. And so I failed. I was wanting to become a doctor. I would have been, by the way, the worst doctor ever. I think I would have been
not sure what you flitting around.
I would have been, I'd have been like Harold Shipman or something like that. I'd have been like,
Jesus,
like fuck him. Come on, he's a goner. Let's just get rid of him.
It's probably not one of your idols. No,
no, you don't. So I was just sort of lost a bit, and then I found something I was good at, and that I felt my first business I ran for my ego, and I didn't know my destination. So that's what you're asking me. You're going, did I know what I was
there wasn't like
do?
a roadmap you were following. No.
In the end, I sold because for the first time I got scared because I had 2 young children in my bed and I wasn't doing it for me anymore. So I sold the business. I sold it too cheap. I sold it to Pentland Brands. But I learned a thing or two. I learned that the power of the business was the brand. And often I learn all my best things from my biggest mistakes. And then I went on to run a brand consultancy company selling brands. And then I went on to setting up Box Park. And when I set up Box Park, which I guess at the time was the world's first pop-up mall, I had a destination. I knew why I was going to do it.
Do you think it's common for first-time founders, though, to sell too early or to take that deal quickly?
I think,
or does it depend on their life, I suppose? Or
I think in many ways it's common for first-time founders, especially like millennials and Gen Z, to be in business for their ego, which is really scary, because they're almost in business say, look at me, I'm an entrepreneur, I've raised loads of money. Well, raising loads of money means nothing. You've got debt. That's what that means. That's nothing smart about that.
Yeah.
I like to see you exit a business, you know?
Yeah. That's the thing. So we work with a lot of tech partners, right?
Yeah.
And probably 140
and I think
of them.
a lot of them are not understanding that profit is sanity, and, you know, and turnover is vanity, or raising money is vanity. So I think it's better to grow a business from the ground up and really understand it.
Yeah.
So no, I did not know my destination. No, I was not in business for the right reason. But second time round, I was, and that's became a much more successable business.
And literally we're down the road from Shoreditch today, from Box Park.
That way.
Where am I? Oh, God, I've done that twice today. How do you even know I've done this? I'm from Cardiff.
Good town.
Oh yeah, great fun.
Yeah, great town.
Where's Box? Coming, I hear. Maybe?
I was, but I think they're going to do a Box Park imitation there.
Yeah,
but they've got some really good guys there. Got the Depot boys.
That's right. Our Depot's fab.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. We've worked with them before.
They like to party. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Box Fresh. How did that come about? Box Fresh, Box Park.
Yeah.
Too many boxes. Box Park. How did that come about then? Because it is a big jump from where you were.
Yeah. So this is interesting for the viewers, because I think Steve Jobs once famously coined the phrase of connecting up the dots of your life. And I guess in a way I've been quite good at connecting those dots in my life. And the dots that I connected was the following: that at about 2010, everyone was predicting the death of physical retail. And I never bought into that. I still don't buy into that. And I'll come back to that point.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. That's a really important issue, I've got to say. I think that tech want you to believe that everything's going to be online, but I believe in the touch and feel of retail. So I didn't buy into that, but I did buy into small shops. And I also bought into the idea that we needed to curate a development which was centered around sportswear and streetwear. So literally Box Park was the following. I had a love of container architecture. I wanted to set up a retail development for streetwear and sportswear. And I happened to know a mate of mine that owned the retail development in California. And I thought, and I'll even plug him, it's Shaheen Sadaji from the lab. And he used to do what I did. And I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And he was really wealthy. So I thought, well, there must be money in it. So I was really naive. I just literally woke up in the middle of the night when I really built a container shop for Box Fresh. And I literally went, oh, I'm going to build a whole mall out of a container. And that was it.
And originally, was it retail first or food first?
It was retail.
Right.
The food was an afterthought. It was literally like, I've got this whole floor upstairs. No one's going to go upstairs to shop. I'll make a park up there, Box Park, and we'll do the food up there. But it was actually the park, the food, it was the street food, not the streetwear that did well. Because after the Olympics, we lost most of our tenants. And then that was actually, believe it or not, the best thing that could ever happen to me, because then I pivoted, went into street food, and then really started to focus on footfall initiatives, which no retail developer would do.
Yeah.
And this is something important to say. You know, there's so many imitators out there, right? I came from an environment where when you were making streetwear, that the unwritten rule was never to copy anyone, because if you did, you get the shit kicked out of you, because we were all pretty tough. So I always innovated. I had to trust my judgment. Yeah. So that was great training for me. I'm never looking at behind. I'm always wanting to innovate. So I've always had that innovation in me as a natural thing. Imagine I make 1,000 products a year. So I just wanted to innovate. And I brought that innovation to what I considered a very sleepy industry, which is retail development. And we were some of the first people, if not the first people, to certainly do the first pop-up mall, certainly the first to do a retail container development. I mean, people are going to say, "Oh, there was some in Africa," but it's all bullshit. You know, we were the first. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's crazy. And then, you know, we did things like Wi-Fi data capture before anyone. We launched products like iZettle payments in the UK before anyone else. We launched loads of brands like Marshall before, you know, other people.
Do you liken it to like when you did Box Fresh, that energy you had when you were kind
totally.
Yeah, is it a similar type feeling when you're just going again? New category, but new.
You just innovate, and don't, you know, I'm really lucky because I made so many products with Box Fresh and it was successful that I really trusted my intuition. And we don't speak about this now. It's basically what we've got is, you know, the geeks are ruling the world, the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Jeff Bezos, you know, and I just reject all of that. I actually believe in emotional intelligence. That's why I think women entrepreneurs are, you know, can be better entrepreneurs than men, because I think they're much more in touch with their emotional intelligence. And we don't talk enough about emotional intelligence, but yet when you have consumer behavior, it's largely based on Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. In my case, the need to feel special, the ego. So I'm just trying to create places that people feel special and want to go to.
Yeah, and you want to tell everyone else about it.
Yeah, exactly. The fear of missing out.
Yeah, and I think what you guys did really well, you kind of captured Oasis reunion last year, right? So everyone was going to. I was up in Edinburgh. We went to see them, and I took my boy who's 18.
Couldn't go in the end. I had a ticket.
Honestly, it was a bit of a moment.
Ticket, though.
It was basically all of us in a stadium, a load of old men in a stadium, but getting emotional. But it was fantastic, and I think when you were growing Box Park, it was a similar type vibe. I'm not liking you to Oasis, but that kind of, this is new, it's fresh, but with a bit of a throwback to what food was all about. Actually being made directly in front of you, high energy, you know, smells going off, noise,
I mean, you've got to remember that, like streetwear, or certainly what influenced me to do streetwear, was rejection against designer wear. Because I was coming from South London, I was going to these designer shops like Jones and on Floral Street, and they sort of looked me up and down. I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So actually, for me, creating streetwear was a reaction against that. It was me saying, look, clothing can be accessible to everyone. Well, Box Park was also that, make it accessible to everyone. And one of the things that we really rejected was the concept of gentrification. You know, we just embraced the local community. We went to Croydon just after there was riots. We went to Shoreditch just after the riots, and we embraced the local community. You know, we didn't go to gentrify that. We never went to gentrify it.
Was it deliberate in what you did in Croydon? Because in Croydon you just did food and drink. Was it just food and drink only?
Yeah, because when we set up Box Park after the Olympics, we lost most of our tenants, and then we pivoted into street food. And then when we did our next development, it was based on Covent Garden Piazza, which was sort of quite a big thing for me when I was growing up, you know, and I think we used to sell in the market there. So I was doing a modern day version of Covent Garden. If you really look at the design, it's really similar to Covent Garden Piazza, but just out containers. The effect is saying it's got a roof and it's got 2 floors, it's got little stalls. It was that. And I thought, well, if that could be successful, I could recreate that. And then it was just about food and drink. And then we evolved the message again with Wembley and created an indoor version that we could trade.
I think one of the must be one of the most played memes or clips. You know, the beer one. I just
happened by luck.
Really?
Yeah, just we're at Croydon and there was a load of Crystal Palace supporters, and one of them filmed. I think England scored against Colombia in the last minute in the World Cup, and somebody filmed their mates throwing the beers in the air. And then it went viral, and I just went with it the next week.
I mean, the amount of beer waste you've caused,
I used to love it. Yeah, they buy 2 pints, 1 pint to drink, 1 pint to throw. Yeah.
No, but it truly was one of those. That's why I was liking it to like the Oasis phenomenon and stuff like that, because we lacked from the 90s. We had so many cool things happening constantly. And I always say to my boy, he's always going, oh, wish I was alive, and they wish I was growing up in the 90s. And I said, yeah, because I think it was, and I think it was from the ground, like you talked about, rather than sometimes, like I can build something on AI now real quick, right? And the guys are telling my company I'm constantly building stuff and saying, what about this? Like, okay. Yeah, so it's constant, but it's not the same as innovation where you physically have to drag something to market sometimes, rather. So it is very different now to what it was.
But it is still innovation. I mean, I use AI and I think it's hilarious when people
You'd be
go,
a nightmare. What are you building? And she must be.
It's hilarious because people go like, oh, that's a CGI. I go, yeah, of course it's a CGI. Because I'm not going to spend 10 grand when I could do it for free.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that actually AI, if you're creative, can allow you to get to market quite quickly. So we create films from it. We use AI to streamline a lot of our businesses. You know, we ask advice from AI, you know, about what to do. And we hope it even things like reviewing models and it's amazing.
It's fascinating. Yeah. I mean, there was a chap on earlier on before you who's where is he? He's from Ukraine, and he's obviously in the war. He had a tech company and had to pivot because of what happened. And unbelievable what he's building. Craziest thing, but I'll tell you another time, called PickPad. And obviously during all that, you had Wembley, everything was going great, and then obviously COVID came along. And that must have, for the most touchy-feely place you could have.
Yeah, I mean,
the impact
obviously
must be big.
The government sort of shut down a lot of hospitality. But it was even worse for me because I was right in the middle of the sale of Box Park. So literally, I'd worked for 10 years to get my exit. I was going to get the exit that gave me all my freedom, you know. And
was that when it was then? Was it the same? Is that when you were?
It was 1 week before I'd gone through 6 months of due diligence with 2 different parties. One actually dropped out, but the other one then came back in. And I was about to sign on a dotted line that week of COVID, and COVID came along, and then they used it as an opportunity to sort of renegotiate the price a little bit. So it cost me a fair bit, but it was really weird for me because over COVID, I'm sitting there going, how the fuck? It was so close, I could touch it. I felt like Al Pacino in Carlito's Way, you know, I want to get out.
Me back in.
You know, every time I'm there, they just drag me back in. But, you know, I was fortunate. I did do the sale. I did an earn out, and actually we bounced back really quickly.
Yeah, because you had the black card, was it? The Box Park black card, which was insane. My figures say here. Where was
2
it?
million.
2 million. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's still going? Is it still part of the business?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we really monetize it well enough. And what we were trying to do there was really incentivize our customers to come back. It's modeled on not the Boots Advantage card, the Tesco Club card.
Yeah.
Instant discount. So if you show a black card, you can get instant discount on your drink or instant discount on your food. And also, we could then feed you information. So what we were really trying to do there was just get the repeat purchases, the repeat customer up from once every 2 months to once a month. And that's what that whole program is about. And we figured that we'd double our turnover. And if we had to give them a 20% discount to get, you know, discounted beer, well, that was still great because we'd double our turnover. And it was as simple as that. And I'll be frank, I got it from Soho House, you know, because they had a membership. And our membership was free, but you felt as though you're part of something. So it's
very interesting. I'm starting to see subscription models come back out again, and people trying that within F&B.
I'm not a big fan of the subscription model. A lot of that is just, you know, Silicon Valley sort of. They're monetizing that whole concept, and there's a lot of bullshit subscription. There really is. Everyone went subscription mad, and actually everyone's running away from it. So you looked at Harry's, and initially it started off as subscription, but it's doing more through retail now than subscription. And a lot of that was all about the multiples. Again, it's sort of the tail wagging the dog. You know, in the end, it's about product. It's not about doing things because, you know, Mr. Private Equity thinks that's great for the valuation. I mean, there was that ridiculous sketch, wasn't there, about the VC, and they said, you know, no, it's the pre-sale valuation, not the post-sale valuation, i.e., not before. We want the pre-turnover valuation because you can get more. What utter bullshit. It really is.
It's good to see you bought into the Silicon Valley people.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And And your most harshest critic is have you got a daughter?
My daughter.
Have you just got the one kid, or?
No, I've got 2.
How old?
My daughter's 26. My son's 21.
She said something like, "Here, you've made loads of money, but what have you really done?" Is that correct?
Yeah, bitch.
How did that land?
She denies it, but she said it.
Well, it's on my notes, so it happened.
Yeah, no, you know, it landed hard. They never ever sort of compliment me on anything, but that's good. I think I need that. I get too much of that at work. So, You know, it really.
Patting on the back everywhere.
My feet are truly on the ground when I get home. I'm like, it's, you know, with my wife, it's my wife, it's with the kids, you know, her family, the dog, everyone else than me. So, you know, so
yeah, we all sit there, don't we?
yeah. So yeah, my daughter did say that, but she was right, because I was just, you know, after I sold Box Part, or certainly sold my majority share, I didn't have to work again. But you know, she did ask a very searching question, which was, I came from humble beginnings, from a council estate, and I made this money, and all I focused on was security and making money. And then I realised that I had everything I wanted in life, that I didn't want more, that I actually don't like spending money, you know. So
isn't it strange climbing up the hill when you get there?
yeah,
a lot of people say that, right? They can climb up the hill and they whatever struggle they've got,
Yeah.
and they get there and they go, "Oh, right."
Do you know, I had a sleepless night last night. 'Cause I can say it now because my wife won't know. Because
Well, she doesn't listen.
No, she won't listen, but it'll come out afterwards. She'll know by the time it's out. And on a whim, I bought my wife a car on this auction site, sort of a vintage little sports car, nothing too flash. And then I suddenly realised when I got home, like, fuck, I don't have anywhere to put it. And then I've got to get it. And then I was like, oh, I've got to somehow cancel this. And I felt guilty for buying it. And I could easily afford it, but I just don't like those sort of things. I don't like the trappings. I'm just not built that way. I like to save money, you know.
You've got family as well, which is, and you said one of the three, right, was to pass it on. Will the kids get involved in anything you've done?
No, definitely not. They've made it known to me. But I want to go back to something to make this, you know, relevant. I want to go back to physical retail. I'm actually going to ask you a question.
Oh God. Okay.
If you are running a consumer brand, okay, I believe there's only three things to be good at.
Right.
What are those three things?
Consumer brand, service, execution, or whatever you want to call it. Delivery.
Yeah.
Product.
Yeah. Product, definitely.
Yeah. And I don't know. What's the third one?
You do definitely know the third one.
Do I?
Okay. What I challenge all the listeners out there.
Gracie feels challenged.
Right. There's, in my experience of running consumer brands for now nearly 40 years, there's only three core pillars.
Right.
Okay. Number one is product.
I was going to say people. Have I missed that one?
You're right.
Yeah.
You know, but that wasn't that. That was with delivery, actually.
Okay.
I would say you've got to have special product, and it's got to be special to customer. Sometimes that just isn't this jacket I've got on today. It could be the price.
Yeah.
You know, Primark differentiate themselves on price. It could be the quality. It could be the fact that's expensive, so it's more exclusive. It could be, in this case, it looks really good, but it's not expensive because it's from Marks and Spencer's, and I'm a right cheap bastard.
It is nice. Is it from M&S?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I've got one as well. I've got the other version.
Yeah.
I thought I recognised it.
So you've got to be obsessional about your product.
Yeah.
But you can have the best product in the world, but unless you create traffic to that product, which is the number two, it's pointless, you know. And sometimes you can have businesses that are good at one thing and sort of okay the other two. So let's take something like the Sidemen. We've launched one of their businesses. Is Sides. It's a chicken burger.
Yeah, no, well, yeah.
You know, it's nicely presented. It's a decent chicken burger. It's not the best chicken burger ever, but it's good. It's good. But they've got traffic, and yet they've got queues around the corner. You know, it's good for what it is. So sometimes the traffic can dictate everything, but traffic is really, and your traffic strategy is really important. It's like having a store that's in a back alley. No one's really going to see it unless that's your objective.
If you have to percentage that bit, because obviously we work in a business and we have the same thing, right?
Zero, no preference.
Really?
You know, I'm always looking for the business can hit all three. But sometimes you get a business that hits one and you go in. So if Simon came to me and said, you know, like, I want to launch a drink, you know, I'll go, yeah, all right, do that. I mean, they know nothing about product. They don't have a team to deliver it. But it's a Simon, and I know I can
get the demand.
Yeah. So I would do it, you know. And it's weird because I can't say here, but an influencer who's launching a drink, and I was going to help him. And I, you know, and yet he had no real background in that. We have had, okay. So sometimes the traffic is enough. Sometimes the product's enough. Sometimes the product is so good that everyone wants it. That alone's enough. But the ideal is you've got the three, you've got this great product, you're driving traffic to it, and then you've got the team to convert that into profitable sales or deliver it, as you say. But they're the three core pillars. But what happens is that we allow the geeks to sort of try to quantify everything, and they don't remember those three pillars, okay? So they might talk about conversion rates and X, Y, and Z, you know, whatever. They don't trust their own emotional intelligence. So going back to physical retail, and it is, for me, if those are the three pillars and we weigh up physical retail, if it's food or it's clothing, whatever, if we assess physical retail and those three pillars, I think it outperforms out online. Why? Well, let's take this jacket. Until I can touch and feel this jacket online, then I'm going to buy it in a store because I know it's going to fit. I can feel the cloth, you know, and I can look in the mirror and I know it's going to look good. And online will never be able to touch that, okay? So massive tick for physical retail. And then number two, traffic. Well, this is the world's greatest con, okay? Because what Google and what Meta did is they conned you, okay? By the way, I have a real dislike of you guys, just in case you're wondering, you know. I just wanted you to, and you are so busted, lads, you know, because it was a great big, because I don't like the fact you don't pay tax and you absolutely ruin our high street, and we're all effectively paying you a tax, and it's not going back into our own taxes, it's going to Silicon Valley, you know. So what really annoys me is that we're now paying for our traffic, we're paying for a tax, a cost per click, you know, or Facebook, Meta getting
ads,
it, or whatever, okay? But actually, you can create more cost-efficient traffic nowadays without using a monopoly of Google or X, Y, and Z. And by the way, you know, Google's name, in a way, Google is a bit numbered because you're going to have things bypass Google in terms of AI. You're going to have people going directly to AI.
Already doing it,
Okay. But we're effectively, it's costing you so much to get traffic. So look, you might have a situation that you're paying for this jacket, £100 jacket, £1 per click, okay? Well, it costs £100, and you're converting typically online at 1 or 2% conversion rates. So hold on, you've paid £100, and only one or two customers are going to convert. That's going to be £200, and you've already shelved out £100. You're a loss leader already. So you're effectively ruining your profitability. But sometimes having physical stores can be a really smart way to create traffic. So I think that's a bit even. I don't think that's so much the advantage of online anymore.
It's interesting. I grew up I was in Carluccio's for 9 years, and we opened sites in Landsec properties quite a lot in the malls, Cribs Causeway, Blue Water, all over the place. And I remember.
What was the name of the company?
Carluccio's.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, Landsec with the.
No Landsec, no Carluccio.
Yeah. So
I used to go there.
When it was good,
in Brighton.
That's right. Yeah, Brighton. Yeah. And that was where I kind of became a director. And when I was there, in the shopping malls particularly, you'd see the decline because of the lack of effort. I thought in terms of the prospects they were putting in, and they did do some damage over those years. I think that pre-COVID, it was like it got.
And now they're doing damage because there's not a level playing field. So there's an unfair taxation. So you've got online, they don't pay corporation tax, and they certainly don't pay their fair share of business rates compared to it. So we're not giving them a level playing field.
Yeah, and it's not fun to go to, right?
But let me go back to the final.
Sorry, go on.
The final judge of a great consumer brand and a successful consumer brand. So I spoke about the product. Major tick for physical. You can't even argue that, okay? You can touch and feel the product, physical. You can't online. So why would you compromise your brand? I've spoken about online, that actually now the cost of getting traffic online is so prohibitive that actually physical retail could be more cost effective if we had a level playing field, right? And I think at Box Park we did prove that, okay? If we've got business rates that are lower and we use tech to our advantage within a store, creating an omni-channel environment, we'll get to that bit later, okay? But then finally, it's conversion. So online stores are converting typically, certainly in clothing, at 1 or 2 customers out of 100. Well, in store, that 1 in 10 customers get converted. It's a tenfold increase.
Yeah.
So we keep on talking about the demise of online, but actually it's wrong. It's like going back to my day when they said, video would kill the radio star.
Yeah.
Actually podcast with former radio has never been bigger.
Yeah.
It just changes.
Yeah.
We are in danger of doing that with physical retail. And we're the physical retail and hospitality are the largest employers in this country. So we're sleepwalking into this disaster zone and no one understands it. I mean, I'm shocked, Mr. Government, I built a whole retail development. I know a thing or two about retail developments. No one's picked up the phone to me and go, what can we do to help save our high street? Something I've been going on about for the past 10 years. But that's an example.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think it's interesting because
rant over.
That's fine. You can rant away.
Yeah.
We've talked about innovation a lot, and I think innovation sometimes leads to constipation without being rude. As in, some people, some of the categories, our industry, hospitality, has been a bit slow in uptaking sometimes in innovation across the board. And tech is another example of that. And I think just it's been bloated for a few years, and hopefully we'll start seeing the wheels grease.
In example of, I'll be frank with you. We reviewed systems. We've gone with Toast because we believe it's the best hospitality system for us and for our customers. But what you've done is you've reduced the cost of entry when it comes to POS, and every single hospitality business has to have a proper management system, a kitchen management system. Okay, it's got to be really friendly in terms of the customer facing side of things. It's easy to use, and also you've got to be able to integrate with online delivery, with Deliveroos of this world. You can't put your head in your sand and pretend it doesn't exist. So you want to create a seamless transition between your delivery business as well as your in-store business, and you need to have pure visibility of what happens. That's why us as a commercial landlord, which is what we are now in our new business Box Kitchen, we've rolled out Toast because we need to have visibility. We want to see what units are performing, how they're performing, and we can incentivize or offer schemes to our tenants to come in on a percentage turnover basis as opposed to a flat rate.
Tell us about Box Kitchen, actually, because it is a fascinating concept.
All Box Kitchen is, after Box Part, I set up a venture capital fund, Box Fund. I played around with it for 3 years. I didn't really enjoy it because I didn't want to spend my whole life raising money. I don't need to do that, okay? So I always had the Box Kitchen idea at Box Part, and effectively we're taking all the IP knowledge that we built at Box Part and selling it to other developers and other people in the hospitality industry. So there's nothing we don't know about container kitchen. So we're using our kitchen supplier is Catering Projects, who's one of the largest in the country. Our container supplier is FSW, who did a lot of our container conversions. We're applying not just the physical units, we're also rolling out the tech. So we've got POS, we've got...
So they take your tech stack, do they? Whatever
they take our tech stack. We've got POS, we've got satellite Wi-Fi, we've got, alarm systems, we've got full tracking systems, So we're selling you a complete kitchen solution in a box, and you won't have to try and figure out what is the best in class. We've already gone to the best in class. It's all, ready straight out the box.
And who's the ideal customer? Is it a food street scaling up, or is it
it's weird because
delivery
event,
big
we've got 3 products. We've got Box Kitchens, which are effectively street food customer facing units, mainly for the event and hospitality industry. We've got dark kitchens, which are people who want to do dark kitchens, and we've got box bars, which again is mainly for the event and hospitality. And you can rent or buy. But it's weird. We thought that the main business was going to be an event business, so like festivals and stuff like that. It's not proven to be that. it's really proven to be major developers who
are looking to
want to put box parks on there, and and want to get income from their sites from where they're not receiving income, and we're able to put containers and put retail units on, food units on there.
It's what we call sweating your tech, but you sweating your land, maybe.
Sweating your land, and we're also sweating the tech, because for the first time we're saying to these guys, we got full visibility in the turnover, so you can make the deal quite interesting.
And it's quite interesting. You've got a rent or buy model, haven't you? So, because I imagine most people who want to kind of expand
rent, buy, and also JV now.
Ooh.
So JV has been specifically developed for the developers, where they just provide the land and the infrastructure. We bring the unit and we manage it for them.
Because it's a bit of accessibility in it, because people I think are a bit terrified of capital expenditure right now, or full capital expenditure. Yeah. So it gives you that opportunity, doesn't it, to kind of get your idea out.
I mean, the numbers that we've ran, I mean, the yields that you get back are insane. So typical, commercial development yields are what, say 5 to 8%, whatever. So effectively 8% of your cost you get back in your rental every year. Where our yields are like 50%. So that's
slightly bigger. And what about box fun? You just mentioned it quickly there. Are you playing with it a lot, or are you? No, is it kind of as you see an opportunity?
The problem was that I'm still funding people personally, but I'm not raising money for other people. So we one of the businesses that we supported and raised money for was a plant-based gum company called Nude. And I loved it, because we were trying to get rid, what people don't know is 99% of the gum out there is plastic. It gets into your brain, so there's literally a credit card worth of plastic in your brain, and the only plastic you eat is plastic gum. Know, it's leading to dementia and stuff like that. These are studies that people are only just starting to come out. There's 4 billion pieces of plastic gum that are chewed every year, and they just go onto our floors. They don't biodegrade. And all we've done is gone back to the original formula for gum, which is chicle. It's what the Americans first used, and it's just a natural plant. It degrades like a banana. Yes, you can't chew on it for an hour or 2 hours like some people do, which I don't think is very nice. You can chew on it for 5 minutes, and it's nice. It makes your breath fresh. It's good.
But is that where your passion is? Back to your daughter's comment, is it more about finding stuff like that?
It is, but I thought I was going to get a big, second tranche of money from Box Part. I don't think that's likely to happen now, because there has been a downturn in the hospitality industry. So as a result, I had a choice to go out and raise more money. Yeah. And I don't really want to do that. I'm an ideas man, or just invest in another business of mine. And so I've just gone for the low-hanging fruit, invested in Box Kitchen. And if I make a load of money in that, I will put my own money into my future box fund investments. So I'm still involved with personally making investments. I'm still joining boards. I'm still advising brands. I'm just not raising them their money anymore.
I guess all the tech guys watching aren't going to say he's not interested.
Yeah, no tech. I'm not the tech guy. I'm the consumer brand guy. Yeah. Nothing against you, but you've got enough money, guys. Yeah.
And I think, as you've proved, you are outspoken. You have got an opinion, which I think is massively missing from today. Everything's so cleansed and clean, isn't it? Advice for budding entrepreneurs, which I still count myself as one, even at the age of whatever. And I think for people listening or watching, and they want to start a company, or they've got an idea in their head, they want to get going. What advice would you give them? Probably not follow the.
I mean, I would say a few different things. I've touched on them before. I think the first thing I'd say is, if you go on any journey, you've got to know your destination. Yeah. So just know where you're going to. What is your objective? That's number one. And it's amazing how many entrepreneurs just don't have an end journey or know the destination. So be clear. Are you in business for your ego? So you can tell all your mates, I'm a tech entrepreneur, You
could say Silicon Valley again if you want.
Yeah. Or are you in business to make money? And there's nothing wrong with saying that. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with making money. It's what you do with the money that's important. And then, or are you in business to set it up, to build it for your family, to hand it on to future generation, or to hand it on to your staff, or to hand it on for the benefit of future generations, like Yves Chouinard has done. So know your destination is number one. Be careful of that ego one, because there's so many entrepreneurs that are out there just to give the big I am sort of, I'm the entrepreneur, and it's it's a dangerous reason to be in business. So that's something that I would say.
And did you have a mentor? Some people have some rock stars in their career that kind of help them, and not literal rock stars.
I had a few people along the line that I would say gave me invaluable advice. I would say, and I've said some of these publicly, there was one guy called Ted de Cruz who I met when I was quite young, and he was a famous brand consultant, extremely bright, really intuitive when it came to brand. And he told me like 30 years ago, when this wasn't even popular, Roger, if you're not special to your customer, you won't exist. And that was my mantra. So I got it from him. Okay, so he was definitely a real role model for me. And I've had sort of coaches that have helped me realize that I'm a good entrepreneur, but was a pretty piss poor manager. And I don't think people understand they're two different things.
Yeah, very different roles.
I'm the sort of person that wants to get from A to B as quick as possible. I'm really not the guy to put the hand around your shoulder and sort of, take care of you. Although I'm caring, it's not my thing that I'm good at. So having to recognize that was really important for me, to recognize I'm a good entrepreneur, but not necessarily a good people person, or man manager, shall I say. So
yeah, which again is different, right? I think you are a people.
Very different.
You come across as, we've only just met, right? And we're having a good chat. So I think it's more about what you just said then, is managing people. It is a skill, right?
It really is. And it takes a different skill set, something that I've not necessarily been blessed with. So I think that, so that was a guy called Stuart Baldwin who ran a consultancy company. And I've been lucky to have some people that support me along the way that have been really great support. Like, I had Charles Dunstan invest £1 million in me when I just literally showed him a piece of paper for Box Park,
Funnily enough, I got a bit of paper for you afterwards.
I know. So that was amazing. I had a guy called Lawrence Hutchings who I actually met the other day, who gave me the Shoreditch site when he was retail director of Hammerson's, and I asked him why, and he thought it was brilliant, and I was like, wow. He said to me that his then head of retail said to him, I've got this guy, he's got a really good idea, but he's fucking annoying, so can you deal with him? Thank you for that. So
tell me your tech story then. You brought it up a couple of times.
Okay, so when I was really trying to make Box Park retail work, I hadn't done street food. I was still doing street food, but I was trying to make physical retail work. And I could see all these tech guys making loads of money. I went, I know what, I've got to get into tech. This is what you do. This is how you make the money. So we came up with quite a revolutionary platform at the time.
So you did do tech?
I did do tech. Yeah, I was a member of the tech community. I was one of you. I saw the light though. And it's still to this day not been replicated, which was, so you would have a physical retail store, and at the time, not many of them had integrated stock systems.
Yeah.
So tick number one, you create an integrated stock system, okay? And the first thing that you have to do is decide what platform you're going to use. So we wanted to use a cloud-based platform. So we use effectively Magento, okay, which was then part of eBay Enterprise, which owned PayPal at the time, as well as eBay.
Is this the eBay story as well?
This is the eBay story. Okay. This is the tech and eBay story. This is my most embarrassing story. And so we launched a POS, right? And then I wanted to connect the each individual store's online stock with their POS, okay? So one single stock file.
Yeah.
Now, if, say, 30 or 50% of people had, POS systems, 1 in 100 customers had an integrated stock system.
Yeah.
This is pre-Shopify.
Yeah.
Shopify hadn't launched its POS system when we did it, okay? So we figured a way with Magento. Really, luckily, all we did was use API connections. We found, because it's got a massive ecosystem, and we found a POS supplier in Uruguay, when we found, and we then integrated the stock file with the POS. If you were a jewelry shop, you had one piece of jewelry. If you sold it online, it would update your jewelry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was 1 in 100 stores had that. Okay. So that would have been good enough. But then we added on another layer, okay, which was a marketplace. So we did it was called Box Park Marketplace. We did a marketplace across the entire Box Park. So this dealt with the traffic element.
Right, okay.
So people would go onto Box Park Marketplace and you'd be able to get into 20 retailers, and you'd have one single stock file that not only went across your physical in-store stock, not only your own individual e-commerce stock, but also the marketplace. It all integrated under one single stock file. That had never been done before. Well, I never realized it, right? And all we did was make these API connections. Anyway, suddenly had eBay all over me, right? eBay. And they were like, oh my God, how do you do this? We've had all these tech guys working it for years, but they were trying to build it from the ground up. All I did was like connect things together, but it was really stable.
They're all shaking their heads at home now going,
it worked. It really worked.
Sometimes, guys, the best idea is just do it yourself.
All we did was just connect them. Anyway, they thought I was some sort of genius, okay? I wasn't. Anyway, they go, we want to invite you onto the eBay advisory board because your vision, you know, whatever. So I get invited to go to the eBay advisory board.
Silicon Valley.
No, yeah, it was. And they go, we want you to give the keynote speech at our annual conference. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. I said, where is it? I went, Las Vegas. I went, okay, yeah, I'll come over. All right, went over. Anyway, I arrived in Las Vegas, me and Matt Carter, okay? Arrived in Las Vegas. We arrived at the Hard Rock Hotel, the convention center. Fucking Bon Jovi had played on the stage the day before. They had these massive TV screens up. They'd all been rehearsing their speech in this sort of Steve Jobs way for 3 months. And I was like, oh my God, I've talked to about 100 people. This is talking to 5,000 people,
yeah, it's huge.
all part of the Magento. It was the eBay Enterprise Conference. Anyway, they had a teleprompter, and all I had was my little notes, right? You know, little prompts. Never used a teleprompter before. So they were like, oh, don't worry, you'll be all right. We'll ask you questions, okay? These are the questions you're going to ask. I was like, yeah, great. Anyway, they asked me the first question, and like I did on this one, I went off piste. So the teleprompter's going up and down like this, and all I'm seeing is going up and down, and I'm going, oh, fuck, I can't remember my words anymore. I was awful. I still have cold sweats about how bad I was. So bad, and the conference went on for a further 2 days, that literally no one even came up to me and went, oh, really enjoyed your talk. They just sort of ignored me, you know.
So you didn't remain on the board?
No, I got kicked off.
Yeah. Look, I think it's fascinating, and the reason we wanted to ask you on was purely that because we talk about a lot of tech, right? And we talk about how the industry's being powered by it and all this kind of stuff. But actually, the reality is that people like you and other great founders in the business are keeping it going, or have at least injected some, I think, fun and some honesty into it. And we appreciate your time coming on. And
you're welcome.
We hope people can reach out to you. They can approach you on LinkedIn, but I would add caution.
Yeah,
I was reading one of your posts.
I've got a thing or two to say.
Yeah, I saw one at the weekend. I was like, yeah, okay, that's good. I was about to comment. I thought, oh wait, but look, that was Roger Wade, everybody. We thank you for joining us.
You're
Roger,
welcome.
we'll see you soon.
Thank you.